What is up, everybody? I want to go over the Redbull handbook for Age of Mythology. So Red Bull is taking place in Spain this year, and I've played in Red Bull qualifiers before for Age of Empires 4. So hopefully I can shed some light for the Age of Mythology community that might be playing Red Bull for the first time. So let's go over this handbook. So Red Bull El Renado, a grand tournament. So this again is taking place in Spain. It's taking place in the castle as well, which is really cool. Obviously, it's 1 versus 1. It's going to be taking place on the 14th and 15th of September. So that's not far away. That's not a lot of time to prepare. So the game releases literally in 3 days if you get the premium edition on August 28th. And then you'll only have about 2 weeks to prepare for this thing. So it's going to be single elimination. There's going to be a $10,000 prize pool. And then only 2 players come out of this qualifier. And then it says 4 champions. Those successfully head to the culmination rounds to 3rd of October and ending with 4 champions. So yeah, I'm not sure if they're going to be inviting 2 more people outside of this to the finals in Spain or not. But I know that these qualifiers, only 2 people qualify through these qualifiers. All right, so tournament admin. This is your admin. You can contact him about anything about the tournament. Event coverage is going to be held by EGC TV, and they did all the coverage for the Age of Empires 4 Red Bull, so they're going to be streaming it on Twitch. And then also there's going to be a list of broadcasters as well covering the event on Twitch and YouTube. So this is the schedule. So the main thing about Red Bull is there is a registration opens 23rd of August. It hasn't opened quite yet. They're working on some issues, but it should open in the next few days. And then registration closes on 12th of September. And then the 13th of September, seating is locked. So seating is based off your in-game ladder ranked standing. So you want to make sure that you're playing on the ranked ladder to get as high a seed as you can for the tournament, because that's what the seeding is based off of. And then the one important thing is there's this check-in period 1 hour before the tournament starts. So you have to check in an hour before the tournament starts. If you don't check in, you don't get to play. And then at 12, so check-in starts at 11 a.m. UTC, and then at 12:45 UTC, the bracket gets released. After that's when the bracket actually gets generated, based on everyone that's actually checked in. And then it's going to be single elimination round of 256 starts. And these are best of ones on the round of 256. So these are pretty brutal. So this is the round you really want to prepare for, because if you lose your first game, you're just out. And then after that, it's going to be best of 3s, so you have a little bit more leeway. Event format, qualification stage. Again, we went over this. And then there's going to be just 2 winners. So here's a little visualization. So everything in red is going to be played on the Saturday, September 14th, and then the dark red is going to be played on Sunday, September 15th. So in the first round, competitors are paired according to their seeding, with the highest seeding facing the lowest seed, and the second highest facing the second lowest, etc. Settings, qualification stage. So you kind of got to study the way that Red Bull does the drafts and everything. It can be a little bit confusing if you've never played in a Red Bull qualifier before. So typically you do map drafts first, and then you're going to be followed by God drafts. God drafts are exclusive to the player who picked them, while map drafts are shared, allowing players to choose any drafted map when selecting the next game. The higher seed decides whether to host the map draft or God draft, which with roles reversed for the other. For the God drafts, the initial bans must target different pantheons, so you can't ban like Ra and Isis. You have to ban like Isis and Zeus, or Isis and Thor, or whatever. After the initial bans, all subsequent God pits are unrestricted. Players can freely choose from any of their remaining gods, regardless of their pantheon. But again, gods are exclusive. So if I pick Thor, that means you cannot pick Thor. All games of the day are played concurrently, all times except for the first round of the day are estimates. So the way it typically works is you're playing one game after another, but a lot of times you're waiting for if you finish your game early, you're waiting for your opponents to finish their games, and then you're playing the winner of those two. So sometimes you get a little break depending on how long their game is, how their games are going. The round of 256, again, that's the best of one. It's going to be played on Blue Lagoon, so that's the map you want to be practicing the most. So because this is the most important round to get through. After that, it's best of 3, so you have a little bit more leeway. You're allowed to lose a game, and then you got to win the other 2. And that's where you're doing all the drafting, the map drafting, and you know, obviously the God drafting. Round of 16 is best of 5. So if you get this far to the best of 7, so round of 8 and best or round of 4, I believe. Let's see. Round of 8 is best of 5, and round of 4 is best of 7. If you get to the best of 7, you perform God drafts twice, initially for the first game and then for the 4th game. If it gets to 4 games. So participation, registration instructions. So you got to join the official Discord server. You got to register using the link above. It's not quite open yet, but it should open in the next few days. Working out some issues with it. To qualify, the register account must be active on the ranked leaderboard, like I said, and that's how they do the seeding. And you have to play with your main account, your highest ranked, most known main account. You can't use a Smurf. You must accept all the rules, yada yada. You can't register with an account you don't own. Obviously, if you work for Age of Empires or War's Edge, you can't participate. Game patch, obviously the game is played on Retold. So this was actually an issue in Age of Empires 4 where a new patch came out and they had to decide whether they wanted to use the old patch or the new patch. So that's going to be decided by an admin. Cheating, obviously there's no cheating or hacking allowed. And you can't, that includes not communicating with someone during your games. So you can't like share a screen and talk to a coach or another player during the game. And also scripts and macros are also forbidden. obviously no bad manners. Um, Betting. Uh, you're not allowed to bet uh, with any capacity to influence the outcome of a game series. So if you have any influence of the outcome of a game, you're not allowed to bet. If you're outside just watching the tournament, you're allowed to bet, obviously. But if you're a player or something, or you're so this was actually an issue in in StarCraft Brood War. Um, there was a lot of insider betting, and players were throwing matches, and there's a whole debacle about that. And Kespa, the organization running the tournaments, had to ban uh, a lot of players from that. So this is a good rule to have. Participants must check event platform regularly and privately communicate with admins. Okay. Punctuality, be on time. All this is pretty basic stuff. Penalties. The admins have going to be issuing any penalties from any rules that are violated. Tournament admins have reserves the right to amend, remove, or change the rules at any time, and there's going to be a change log on the bottom of the handbook, and it's the player's responsibility to keep up with any changes of the rules in the handbook. Seating, again, like I said, seating is determined by your ranked in-game ladder. So the higher you are in the ladder, the better seed you get. Also, if more than 256 players register for the tournament, they're just going to take the highest people on the ladder, the highest players in the ladder, and just go with those 256 players. So the tournament ladder, when the game comes out, it's important that you're playing on the ladder and trying to get as high on the ladder as you can. The top 4 players are seeded based on inputs from the Age of Mythology Council members. All remaining players are seeded using ranked tournament ladder, and then the ladder seeding locks on the 13th of September. Again, schedule. You just gotta make sure you show up on time and check in. And then you're kind of just going and playing one game after another. Pantheon and gods, draft play only accessible gods and avoid repeating them within a matchup. So yeah, you can only use one god once. You're not allowed to repeat god picks. If a player plays with a restricted god, play must be restarted. Obviously, if you don't have the Freyr god pack, you can't play with that god. That's pretty obvious. The admin may request to view the player's point of view at any time as an anti-cheat measure. This actually happened in Age of Empires 4. I'm not going to name the player, but there were some cheating allegations and stuff going on. Technical difficulties. The admin will decide on game restarts or restores in case of crashes or desyncs. Well, that should be pretty straightforward. Game restarts. So a player can request a restart in a situation where the map is bugged or failed to generate in the intended way. So obviously the maps are generated, so it's up to you. Within the first 2 minutes, you may call for a game restart. If it goes after 2 minutes, you're not allowed to anymore. So bug map conditions, obviously, if the relics don't regenerate, some relics fail to generate, or any heritables or gold deposits are generated in such a way that's unfavorable to you, it's up to you to call for a restart within 2 minutes of the game. Obviously, no exploits are allowed. Any bugs or exploits or glitches. Obviously, this is a new game, so there might be some exploits that get found out. And it's your responsibility as a player to ask if something is an exploit or a bug or if it's allowed. So, for example, in Age of Empires 4, you could wall off the edges of the water and delete fish that way. And that ended up being a bug that was decided that that's not allowed in the tournament. So there's a gray line there where laming is allowed. Players are permitted to do anything that allows, including limited walling in resources, blocking or killing villagers, or killing any edible or wild animals. But if there's any exploits or bugs that are found out, then it's your responsibility to bring that up with the admin and ask if that's allowed or not. And then they're going to make a decision based on what they think. Pause the game only on their severe technical issues. So that's all. This is pretty standard. Lobby settings. So you both have to find a game server that benefits both of you equally. You got to restart if you use the wrong settings, but everything just needs to be on standard. This is supremacy, so standard game type, 2 players, standard map size, standard visibility, starting resources, game speed standard. Allow Titans, lock teams on, and for some reason they have villager priority on. It's their tournament, so they can, they can choose any settings they want, but yeah, I mean, people, players are not going to really be using this just because it makes your villagers not be efficient using the villager priority system. But for some reason, it's left as on for this tournament, so you are allowed to use it. So let's look at the maps. So Alfheim, that's a very standard known map from the original game. Everyone knows this map. Blue Lagoon, this is the map that I said. The Rondo 256 map. There's no fish on the water on this map, so you don't have to worry about a dock build order. Just go with this, practice the standard build order for this map. But this is going to be the most important map to practice because you want to make sure you get out of that best of 1 256 round. Elysium, this is a newer map. Then you have Ghost Lake. Everyone knows this map from the original. Gold Rush. This is actually a map from Age of Empires 4 and Age of Empires 2, where you have only about 1 or 2 gold mines by your starting TC, and then all the rest of the gold mines are in the middle. So you want to make sure you have like a forward building strategy where you're getting to the middle of the map as fast as possible. You have Kirlager. This is a new map where you have 2 rivers on the sides with fish, and then 2 TCs on the sides. So this, this is another map this is a new map you need to practice. Marsh, everyone knows this map from the original. Mediterranean, I'm not sure why they included this map. This isn't a competitive map in my opinion, but they included it in the tournament. I'm probably going to be banning this map personally. Megalopolis. This map is kind of like the first map we saw, the Blue Lagoon. Mirage. So this map, actually on Megalopolis, there's uneven TC town centers. So you have 2 town centers per player, and then you have 1 town center in the middle. So it's uneven town center placement. Mirage, you start with a little pond in the back so you can fish, and then you're pretty close to your opponent. It's a pretty small map. And then of course you have Savannah. This is the most known map in Age of Empires. Everyone loves this map. So payout. So let's see. There's a $10,000 prize pool. 1,400 per player for the top two. 700 per player for top four. It's pretty nice because it even pays up to top 16 and top 32. Top 16 get 300 and top 32 get 125. It's not bad. Not bad for 2 days work. Content creation. You're welcome to register as a broadcaster and broadcast this tournament. You just got to make sure you use their logo and then have the title Redbull, LOL, Renato. And then you're also allowed as a player to stream your point of view. You got to have 2-minute delay though. Got to make sure you put that 2-minute delay on. So here's the changelog on the bottom. So yeah, that's about it from the handbook. Everything is you know, pretty straightforward from what we went over. You just got to make sure you kind of study the whole map drafting and god drafting, because that's pretty important. That, you know, obviously god drafts in the game. It's pretty important the matchup that you get depending on the player that you're playing and the map that you're playing. So the person that studies that the most, they're going to have an edge before the game even starts. So yeah, that's about it. Let me know if you guys have any questions in the comments or anything. And until next time, peace.